Detroit done 3-1-3. Welcome back, Steve and Will. Will still in his penthouse suite in Miami. You know, he makes that big money. He can afford these big fancy vacations. Me, I got to work in my little office upstairs in my modest home. We don't all have big money like Will. But
Yeah,
William,
talk to me.
do you know what today is?
Uh,
Not
Saturday,
not football related. Do you know what today is?
Saturday.
Unbelievable that you forgot. Unbelievable. Today marks the 1 year anniversary of Detroit done 3-1-3. Our very first episode came out March 2nd, 2023. So, for those of you who have been following us, let us know how long you've been following us, where you found us, such and such. We're glad to be here. 1 year going strong, no stopping soon. But before we get into some football talk, hit that subscribe button. William, today was kind of about the quarterbacks, running backs, receivers. What did you think when you were watching?
I thought about who the Detroit Lions were going to draft at pick 29, and I think I
Anybody?
got I got
Any?
answers.
Any? You don't have answers?
I think I do have answers.
Oh, you do.
Yeah,
Give the people some inside edition here.
I don't want to give it to them yet, but I'm pretty excited about some of these guys, the times they ran, and how they looked in drills.
Are you talking mainly running backs, receivers?
Wide receivers.
Because we're not really in the huge market for quarterback. We're pretty set there at two levels. We're pretty set at running back at two levels. I don't think we're going to be drafting a running back 3 unless it's late seventh round, good value. But yeah, I was kind of focused in on these receivers. So who caught your eye the most?
Xavier Leggett. Good night.
He's definitely high on my list. I don't know about number 1, but I won't be shedding any tears if he's a Detroit Lion.
I just think that him needing to develop still poses the opportunity for him to be there at 29. And with a guy that's built like a linebacker but runs like a receiver, that's something that you gotta prick your ears up at.
I don't have his height and weight. I think they were in a commercial when they put his height and weight up the first time, but I know he's a big man, and for him to run a sub 4.4 with some nice hands is a characteristic that I think could be very useful for us.
This is actually interesting because I didn't know his official height and weight until just now. I thought that he was going to be listed at 6'2" because it's been said that he's 6'3", but he's listed at 6'1". So 6'1", 222 is what the combine has for him. So 6'1", 222, that's still a pretty big physical receiver. I love the way he goes up and high points the ball as well. So we're talking about the Detroit Lions being in the business of looking for an X receiver, somebody that can open up the field.
I think there was only one receiver today who didn't really wow me. I'm not going to beat it up too bad. Keon Coleman, his 40 time was not great, but he looked fantastic in all the drills. So I'm kind of 50-50 on the fence. I know what he can do in games. We're familiar with him from Michigan State.
Yeah.
A lot of people are really high on him. A lot of people want the Detroit Lions to draft him. Only thing I don't like is his 40-yard dash time. He was the slowest one in his group. Does that change anything for you?
I didn't want him before, so it doesn't really change much. It's not, and that's not to throw any shade at him. I just think that there's better options there. So I didn't want him at 29. After 29, he's not going to be there. He's not going to be there at pick 61. So he's never been a guy that I thought that was worthy of pick 29 in this year's draft with all the guys that can go out there and make plays. He kind of did what I thought he was going to do. I'm down here in Pittsburgh with some of the coaches. We were in the room watching the combine, and we were joking around about what he would run his 40 in. And I think I said either 4.5 or 4.6 or whatever. But that was pretty much my expectation: high 4.5s or a 4.6, and he delivered. He's a guy that has excellent ball skills. He's going to go help a team out. I just don't think that he's going to be able to make the big plays that he made in college.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wasn't really high on him to begin with. I was kind of giving it like coming into this combine a little open-minded about a handful of guys, and he was one of them. His 40 time didn't sell me. He did look good in all the drills. I know what he can do in the games, but I don't know. Something about Keon Coleman, and I don't even know exactly what it is just a pass for me. I think there's every single wide receiver that I took notes on today I like more than Keon Coleman.
Yeah, well, I think at the end of the day, don't sleep at him because the dude blocks people like he's an extra tight end. So his ball skills, his ability to block people, he's going to be an absolute problem in the goal line. So I think, again, he's going to go help somebody, but there's probably 5-6 other guys that I would take ahead of him.
Who I really liked was it is it Adane or I don't know exactly.
Adane Mitchell.
Adane Mitchell. 4.35 Again, this is another guy we don't know. I don't know exactly what his height is. I've seen him listed from 6'4" to 6'1". So I just went in the middle and said 6'2". 205, ran a 4.3 40. I know his athleticism from watching a lot of Texas football games, how he is kind of that X receiver, catches a lot of passes, can jump really high, athleticism through the roof. And I even texted a buddy and I said, I would not be mad if we have a solid free agency and Adonai Mitchell ends up a Detroit Lion at pick 29.
Yeah, I just think that the Buffalo Bills are going to draft him before us. They pick right before us. I feel like if he makes it all the way to 28, the Bills are probably going to grab him. I can't see a world where he makes it to us, but hey, you never know. If maybe Xavier Leggett's there and they take Xavier Leggett and he drops to us. My only problem with him is I'm looking for somebody to high point the ball. He catches the ball with his body a lot of times. I think that he's the type of guy who's a better weapon than Xavier is right now when he catches a ball and he starts to get dynamic, but I'm not looking for that. J-Mo can do that. Amon-Ra can get over the middle and catch passes and make some plays. I'm looking for somebody to go out, stretch the field, high point the ball, catch some fade balls in the goal line. And I think that's Xavier Leggett. And I think Adonai Mitchell has some of those traits, and he can probably build his way up into playing that position as well. I was a little disappointed. Texas had him listed, I believe, 6'4", and his official height for the combine was 6'2". So that was a little bit disappointing. I was hoping to get another one of those huge receivers, but is what it is.
If he were 6'4", I'd be sprinting to the podium. Yeah. Just myself. I don't know what the Buffalo Bills are going to do. They have Stephon Diggs. He's supposed to be their X receiver. Do you want
a lot of dissension there? Yeah, there's a lot of problems there.
There's been problems there for a couple years. If you want to go back to the game, I think they were playing Cincinnati when they were losing to them 2 years ago, and there was that fit on the sidelines. And then Stephon Diggs did not have a good season this year, but he's still a top 10 receiver in the league. So you know what he can do. Would they want to add a guy like Adonai Mitchell, or would they want to add more of a guy like Ladd McConkey, who I think had a phenomenal day as well?
Hey, man, he definitely upped his stock today by running a 4.3.
Who does he remind you of?
I don't know, man. I don't want to. I haven't
kind of on the spot. Kind of on the spot.
I haven't watched enough tape of him, honestly. I'm not going to get on here and lie. So I haven't watched enough tape of him, honestly, to say who he reminds me of. But I'll definitely get back to you because I'm going to, after you ran that 4.3, I'm like, man, I got to do some digging. So maybe he's a guy that should be on the Lions radar.
5'11", not a huge receiver. He reminds me of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Really great route runner, catches everything, goes over the middle, yards after catch. And he wasn't really on my radar. Like I'm familiar with him. I watched some Georgia games. I know he's probably one of the best route runners in this draft class. But when they put up a comparison of him and Garrett Wilson from the New York Jets, who's an X receiver for them and their go-to guy, rookie of the year, the stats and the measurements were almost identical. So that kind of piqued my interest on that as well, because I started thinking, is he a good enough route runner to where he could be an X receiver? I don't know about that, but with the way the Detroit Lions offense is, we don't really trust Goff to throw the ball 40 or 50 yards. Can we agree there?
Ish.
Consistently.
Yeah, definitely.
He can do it, but can he do it consistently?
Yeah, he's not. It's not something that he's asked anywhere to do that consistently. I agree with that.
So if we're going to be looking at receivers, why not just get these two demons out there that could just run elite routes and catch every ball with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Ladd McConkey. We got Sam Laporta. Jameson Williams can take the top off. I think he would be a nice fit with the Lions as well. Maybe I'm just a little wide receiver happy today, but I really liked a lot of the guys I watched today.
Yeah, I'm just after that big guy, man. I'm after somebody who is a mismatch. I'm after that because I feel like J-Mo already offers speed. Right? Amon-Ra already offers great route running and an ability to sit in zones and make plays. Right? Toughness, grit, everything that we need out of a Detroit receiver. We got Sam Laporta, who's going to be trying to make plays and run routes. You know what I mean? So there's only so much room on the field to be doing things underneath. We need somebody to make plays down the field. And if it's only J-Mo, it's easy to cover. If you have multiple options and J-Mo can start running 8s and 7s, look out.
How do you think the Detroit Lions fans would react on draft night if we took a wide receiver in the first round?
It depends on who it is, man. I think if you get one of these guys that people are excited about, like Xavier Leggett, and there you got all the sexy things that people will be happy about. I think the fans will cheer. If you drafted, McConkley, people who don't know about him probably would be in an uproar and saying that, the things that we see in our comments sometimes, like Brad should be fired.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
They're just voted for the best draft of 2023. I don't think Brad's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think the only way you see a wide receiver as the Detroit Lion on day one is if we go out and have a good free agency. I hate repeating it every episode, but I almost wish free agency was already over so we could just be more open-minded and have a better picture of what we needed on draft night. But we're not there yet. We're going to get there. About 10 days away, 12 days away, something like that.
Yeah, but Steve, I'm gonna be honest, man. No matter what we do in free agency, I still think we have no idea what Brad might do.
No,
we can speculate and we can go over what we think makes sense, and we can go over what he's done over his history of being in charge. But at the end of the day, if he likes somebody, he's going to get them. I don't care if we already have 27 receivers. If he thinks that this receiver is going to change the course of this offense, he's going to go get that guy. So I'm interested to see what he does, man, in both ways, because there's a lot of people in the comments, and there's a lot of people that we talk to and we have conversations with that seem to know exactly. Maybe they talk to Brad, or I don't know, but they know exactly how he thinks and what he's going to do. And I some of them share it with us, and I'm interested to see, because we keep receipts here at Detroit Den 313. So we're interested to see how right you are and how wrong we are. But at the end of the day, I think that we are going to see somebody special get drafted at 29 if we draft at 29, but I'm still in the belief that we're probably not drafting at 29. We're either moving up or moving down, because there's a lot of value after 29. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft, and somebody's going to be trading up to go get their man.
Here's the thing. Here's what I think we really try to do here on this show is guess the mindset of Brad Holmes. We spin the wheel. We try to figure out what one of 10 or 20 routes he's going to take this offseason. Nobody knows. I am convinced that you and me could go out on a night on the town in Detroit with Brad Holmes, just the three of us, drink some beers, and we would still not have an understanding of what he's going to do in the draft. He's keeping it tight, close to the vest. Nobody has a clue. So what we're trying to do as people who talk football on YouTube is we're trying to lay out different avenues for what could happen. So we're not really needing a wide receiver, but if we go out in free agency, we sign a defensive end and a cornerback, we're not even going to throw out names, just to say we address the issue. Yeah. We have more luxuries. We have probably more luxury than any other team in the NFL. We don't need offensive line. We don't need a quarterback. We don't need a running back. Like, we're good. Yeah. If you're drafting offensive line, it's for depth and maybe a guard starting. Is the starting guard more valuable than a number 2 or 3 receiver? We don't know. That's up to Brad Holmes. We don't try to guess what he's going to do. We just try to say there's a million ways he could go. We're just trying to talk about one specific way on this show.
And give options and opinions, man. Like, this is an option of something that we could do, and we try to support our opinions and why we believe a certain type of way. So a lot of times, guys, don't just, Steve, you say it all the time, don't just put a comment down in the comments. Say why you feel that way, so we can talk about it and have open dialogue. There's no wrong answers, but let's chat about it and figure out why we feel the way that we feel.
Yeah, and also I guess we should have said this in the beginning. We only got to watch Group 1. This is pretty much just an episode on the Group 1 guys, but all of the guys that I had taken notes on and was ready to watch was in Group 1. I will be watching Group 2, but I don't know. I really like Adonai Mitchell, Leggett, and Ladd McConkey. Those are the 3 that really stood out for me in Group 1. If we have a good offseason, a good free agency period, as we fix some defensive needs, and we have that luxury, like I talked about, if any one of those 3 are Detroit Lions on April 25th, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to shed a tear. I'll be ecstatic, and I'll say, let's go win a Super Bowl. Our offense is now number 1 in the league.
Hey, Steve.
William.
Due to the fact that life isn't fair, I'm going to toss a question at you.
Oh, God.
Gun to your head right now.
Okay.
I need an answer.
Hit me.
Braden Fisk. Is it Braden? Brendan?
Braden Fisk.
Braden Fisk or Xavier Leggett?
Do I get to know what we did in free agency?
We're waiting.
All right, Braden Fisk.
I'm the same, man.
But if we go out and sign a defensive tackle, a corner, and a defensive end, my answer is going to be different. But gun to my head right now today with no information, Braden Fisk.
Yeah, man. I'm still excited about Fitz, man. I'm still excited about him. All the receiver stuff is fun. It's sexy. I'm a strong believer in that we can find a guy though that can help us out. I'm in free agency, or there's a ton of receivers in this draft. We can find one in the second or the third round. We got 2 picks in the third round. There's guys like Javon Baker out there who I really like. So I mean, there's guys that'll be around and available to help this team at the receiver position. There's
Re-
only
yeah, you're
only
right.
one. There's only one Fisk out there.
And real quick, what gets me interested about wide receivers is I saw that Brian Thomas from LSU confirmed had a visit with the Detroit Lions during
Mhm.
the combine. So that kind of gets the things rolling. Like, hey, Brad's looking at receivers. He's not going to
Yeah.
meet with these guys if at least the position group isn't on his mind. Now, it might not be Brian Thomas exactly. It could be one of the guys we talked about or one of the guys we haven't. But bringing in a Brian Thomas from LSU shows us that this is something Brad's looking at. So if you don't know who Brian Thomas is, he's about to, I mean, by the time this video is up, you'll already know. But Brian Thomas, LSU, solid receiver,
Yeah.
solid receiver, but he kind of gets overshadowed by Malik Neighbors. So keep an eye out on him.
I will say though, he did say on Detroit Den, or not Detroit, the
Hey,
inside the Den.
if we could get him on.
I wish it was on Detroit Den. He did say on Inside the Den. Hey, sometimes they do bring guys in, man, just to
Ruffle some
just
feathers.
just to ruffle some feathers and see what those guys are about, which I think is pretty cool, man. He even said to see what guys are about because they might end up on opposing teams in the division. Like, isn't that crazy how deep they go into it, man? Like, I think that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. I mean, you're bringing guys into these rooms, and we've seen it with I forget who it was last year. They were asking him about formations. If you bring a guy in and he doesn't know that formation, you got a little inside scoop on him when you come to play him, like a Caleb Williams with the Bears. If he doesn't know it, what do you think Aaron Glenn's going to go put out there? Whatever
Well,
you answered in that room that you said you didn't know what the coverage was, he's going to be running a lot of that. So yeah, it's a chess game at these combines as well.
yeah, nobody knows what Caleb Williams knows because he's not going to talk to anybody or let anybody have medical records or
Not going to
any.
run a 40. Not going to play catch on a football field. Like yeah.
Hey, watch the film. What you get is what you get.
Real quick, any Michigan Wolverines stick out for you today?
Blake Corum.
Blake Corum did look pretty. I did not expect him to be that fast.
Yeah, it was he ran about the way that I thought that he would run, but he just looked smooth. He looked smooth.
I forget who it was. I read something yesterday that one of the GMs of these teams was unnamed and said that these Michigan kids, because there's 18 of them there, these Michigan kids look like they're 2 years above everyone. Like they're 2 years ahead. And like Blake ran a 4.53. That's respectable. That's nice.
Yeah,
but in all the drills, I think it's not a deep running back class. There's not going to be probably any first round running backs. But I think Blake really did look good in all the drills, and he ran an above average 40.
Yeah. Well, he looked good, man, especially for his body type.
I guess we can't get off here without talking about JJ McCarthy real fast. Like, I know we're locked in on receivers, but we got to talk about JJ. How do you think he did today?
JJ, I still feel the same, but I think he didn't do anything to lower his stock when he came in looking like what's his name? Who did Tennessee Titans just draft?
Will Levis.
He came in.
I don't know about that. I mean, Will Levis had the cutoff T-shirt.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing, but he put on 20 pounds, man. He looked great, man. He looked great, and it didn't look like a puffy 20. You know what I mean? He looked good. He looked good. So.
Yeah, he looked beefy. A good beefy. Not like Tavondre Sweat beefy.
No, not like that.
I thought he looked good. It's hard to judge quarterbacks. It's essentially you're playing catch. I mean, it's really about arm strength, accuracy, and I think he did everything that I expected him to do. The only area I thought he struggled a tad bit was on the deep ball go routes. He was only like 1 for 4, but I mean, you're playing with guys that you don't really know their speed. All the throws were there. He overthrew them instead of underthrowing them, which I guess is better. At least he has the arm strength, but that's just all about timing. But I think when it came to the comeback route, I think JJ rocked that one out of all the quarterbacks. And honestly, I don't think JJ was the best quarterback in these drills today. I think Kentucky's Devin O'Leary looked really good too. So before everyone says that I'm biased, I think O'Leary looked the best, but he's probably like a 4th or 5th round talent.
Yeah. Well, hot take. So people can well, when we get off of here, people can be mad at me like they typically are. Something that I've been saying, I haven't even told you, so you're probably going to kill me when I say it right now too.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. People aren't going to like it, but every time I have a mock draft in the 5th round, you know who I select?
Devin O'Leary,
No,
Spencer Rattler.
no, it's even better.
I have no as quarterback.
Yeah, sir.
Uh, Caleb Williams. I don't know.
Joe Milton.
Oh
Joe
God.
Milton, man. And here's why. As he's not a person that I expect to come in and play for this team anytime soon. But his arm, yeah, nobody in the world is going to tell me that his arm isn't special. He's got a special arm. That thing is, it's his arm talent is, you can't question his arm talent. Now, everything else that he does, you can question, and it's a problem. But you're telling me that I can get that dude just in the room as a 3rd string quarterback, practice squad guy, develop him, you know, have him for a couple of seasons. If we do decide to move on from Jared Goff and hand this thing over to Hendon Hooker, they already got a relationship. The dude's got ties to the University of Michigan, and he knows what it's like here in Michigan. I just think that would be something where he could contribute. He's definitely going to give us a look at practice. Without his arm talent is a
Are you talking about drafting him?
Joe Milton. I would draft Joe Milton in the 5th or 6th round if he was there. Now, I don't know that he would be there, but if he was there in the 5th round, I would draft him. I just think that he could help this team, and he could contribute to this team, even from a practice standpoint, man. And like I said, him and Hendon Hooker having a relationship, I think that brings something to the table already. I just think that he could be somebody who could help this team out. And you just never know with that elite arm talent. We always talk about how Hendon Hooker's already 20. He'll be what, 27 years old?
So I think he's 37 years old.
So that's what are we talking about? You get a guy like Joe Milton in there, develop him, and you see if you can turn them into something. If we're supposed to be, when you got these guys, you're getting them in and you're developing the tools that they have. He's the only one he has round 1 arm talent. Now, I'm not saying he's
probably him and Josh Allen it'd be a conversation of who's got the strongest arm.
100%, man. So I would love to have a guy like that in our camp, just learning. It could never turn out to anything. I'm not saying that it's going to turn out into something, but I think it would be worth just taking the shot. He'd probably be comfortable out there with Hendon. Like, they've done it before. They know each other well. Like I said, the ties to Michigan. Get them in here in a players-friendly organization and see if you can't develop them into something.
Yeah, I mean, we're very familiar with Joe Milton, and he did look good today. I mean, his arm strength didn't shock anyone who's watched Michigan or Tennessee football. Should not have been shocked today. That's what he's kind of known for. What year was it he was supposed to take over as the starter for Michigan? Was it 2019 or 2020?
I can't remember the year it was, but I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, everyone was comparing him to like Cam Newton, just really big, physical, can run, can chuck the ball 80 yards from one knee, which I don't understand. Like, why is a quarterback going to be throwing a ball from one knee? It doesn't make sense. But yeah, he's got an absolute rocket. He just, I don't know. He didn't work out at Michigan. They gave him a chance. He basically single-handedly lost us the Michigan State game that year because he couldn't complete a pass. I don't know if I want to draft him, and it's not because I hate Joe Milton. It's just I don't see, do we need a quarterback 3 or a practice squad quarterback? I think where you said 5 or 6, that's kind of my range for a kicker who I think might be more valuable if Dan Campbell learned how to use a kicker.
Yeah, I mean, we don't kick, so we don't really need a kicker.
Yeah, that's a fact as well.
I do like the kid from Stanford. I was planning on us doing a show on him, so maybe that'll be coming down the road.
Or the kid from Alabama, hint, hint. Yeah. Maybe a show's coming down the road.
Yeah, I like the kid from Stanford better, though.
I like whoever can put it through the uprights and whoever can earn Dan Campbell's trust to take some points when we need them. Plain and simple.
That's Mr. Cardi.
Yeah. So, guys, we talked about pretty much group 1 of the NFL Combine today. Mostly receivers. Like I said, not really in the conversation or the market for a quarterback. You know, we got Jared Goff, aka Vanilla Vic, or Hendon Hooker, who can also chuck the ball a mile, but we haven't really seen him in a game yet. Talked about a lot of receivers. Leave some names in the comments. Let us know who you guys really stood out today, mainly in the group 2 or group 1. We'll talk about it. Hit that like button. We will be back later with some more content. And hammer Will for not remembering our anniversary as well. Shame on him.
I'll make it up to you. Peace.